All right, can you see me now? Can you hear me? I think it should be working, but I'm not sure. There we go. Hello. Okay, cool. Why is there a 30-second cooldown on messages? I am expecting that we are gonna have more viewers than last time, and so. Oh, I see. Somehow it's streamed incorrectly before. Delete. Okay. Yeah, I put a 30-second delay just so that it doesn't get spammy. And I am going to make a little announcement on Discord. And give it a couple minutes for people to start joining. Happening now. All right. Okay, that went out. Now, how do I see the live viewers? That was the same issue I had last time. I couldn't see how many people were actually viewing. Oh, okay, I think I can see it now. The chat throttle is killing me. I'm sorry, Adam. I mean, should I remove the slow mode on the comments? I actually am not even sure how I changed that right now. Let me see. How do I change the slow mode? If anybody knows how to work with YouTube stream and disable slow mode, please let me know. Let me see. Channel content, maybe? What can I edit here? OPR Hangouts. Okay, I'm gonna have to Google this. Should be an option next to the chat. I thought so too, but I can't find that option. Create a poll, add a reaction. Manage participants, no. Manage moderators, no, that's not. Okay, YouTube live, how to. Click on video. Okay. Should be under customization. Oh, all right. Okay. I turned off slow mode. Yeah, chat away. Spam it. If we see that this gets spammy, then yeah, I'm gonna have to re-enable it. And cripple you guys a little bit. Sorry. Okay, but here I got everything. All right, yeah. How many guys do we got? We got 85 people watching. We had 140 people interested. I mean, I don't know. Do we wait for more people? I guess I can give a little intro whilst we hope that other people enter, or not, truly. So, OPR Hangout stream, welcome. This is the first official one. We had a kind of like test run that we did about a month ago. That stream ended up going for 5 hours. This time we're trying not to go for 5 hours. So like, yeah, I'm gonna try and keep it a little bit more compact this time. The idea essentially is that this is going to be done in 3 parts. The first part is going to be just going over the September release and essentially looking like, all of the renders of the models that are coming out in September. Giving a little description of what's going on, showing you little details. I don't know, telling you some lore bits, whatever it might be. Essentially, just talking about the upcoming release. Once that is done, we go over to looking at for the models that are coming in October. So that's basically like the sneak peek part of the stream, and then just going over concept art and whatever, discussing, talking, whatever, the usual stuff. And then finally we're gonna have a Q&A session where just the floor is open and you guys get to ask me questions. I pick a couple out. Okay, you're saying the microphone is doing a weird thing. I don't know what weird thing means. I have a little button here that I can click. I don't know what that does. Is it better? It's the sound of the microphone or something. There is some breakup in the audio. It's constantly cutting in and out super fast. It's popping. Oh, Jesus. I have no idea. Is it popping for everyone? Could this be a local thing? No, there's a lot of people. It's getting robotic. I honestly don't know. I don't know. Sound is good. Not super bad. I'm able to hear it now. It might be over boosted. Oh my god, I really don't know enough about these things to fix it right now. I think I might have to fix this in for the next run. Checking your cables. I got all the cables as far as I know. I did nothing different from last time. So one thing, well, okay, maybe this could be it. We are now streaming supposedly at 1080p compared to last time, which was 720. All right, unplug, replug the mic. Okay. Hear me now? Are we back? Are we popping? Hello? Yes, we're back. Okay. Is it popping though? Is it bad? Is it is it all crappy? I'm still popping. I yeah. All right. Better than before. Seems fixed. Tolerable. Jesus. Okay. I guess we're gonna have to just roll with it for now, and then see how it goes. Again, maybe check your stream settings. I don't know. I'm checking mine, and everything's fine on my side. Well, as far as I know. So yeah, maybe. Oh wait, audio settings. I have echo cancellation and noise suppression on. What if I turn those off? What the hell does that mean? Cancellation and noise suppression. And I suppose, please let me know if it stops. Okay. All right. Can you guys still hear me? Still the same. Okay. And I'm just gonna return things on. And all right, whatever. We'll take a look at this next time. Maybe I'll do some tests internally with some peeps. But for now, I guess we'll go on as is. Okay, so like I was saying, first part of this whole thing is looking at September models. Second part, looking at October concept art. And third part is a little Q&A session where you guys get to ask me anything. How long is this session supposed to be? I think about, let's say, 2 hours. So 30 to 45 minutes per thing. And then we go. I don't want to rush it, but I also don't want to drag it. I'm still trying to figure this out. This is essentially the second time I'm doing this, but whatever. Yeah. Okay. So one little thing that I would like to say about this whole thing is like part of this idea, part of the idea behind these streams is to I guess demystify the whole like creation process. I think a lot of people see OPR, especially with like the recent boom of like new subscribers, which is great. Thank you very much. But people see like, oh my god, they got like 10K subscribers, and they think like we're a big company and whatever. And truly, OPR is still just a very small thing. It's just me trying to get lots of amazing artists to create stuff following a vision. But it's just I'm just a guy in a bedroom. And I think part of the reason for the stream being the way it is also to make it clear that we're not like a huge company. We don't have thousands of employees. Um, we are just doing things. Okay, cool. So I see people are posting questions in the stream. I think, okay, if you have questions that are not related to something that I'm talking about at the moment, save them for later. I don't want to get constantly sidetracked. So let's just get into it. So September, what do we got in September? September is gonna be another cool month of demons. There's lots of demons. Demons are gonna keep coming out until November. Let me double check my schedule. Until November, yes. The last demon release is in November. There's still gonna be a couple of demon releases in forms of legendary units and the loyalty rewards, but the main armies are going to be done at the end of November. So okay, let me show you some cool stuff. Let me show you some cool models. So we can start. Well, let's start with something a little less interesting. So this was the full overview. I know there's some stuff here that's still blacked out. Everything that's blacked out except for one, we actually have some progress on that I will be able to show you. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I have something for the Plague Beast, but that should be okay. All right. Let's start with something maybe not as interesting for everyone, which is the terrain. So in September, we've got the War Demons terrain coming. This is the large terrain this time around. It's quite big. Essentially consists of like 2 islands, a big island, so to say, with a big door. I don't know, gateway to hell or something like that. And that smaller island has like a throne on it. This is actually a modular piece, and the big door with the vortex can be changed for a floating version of the portal, which adds some interesting bits. Like there's lava spewing out of it that it basically keeps it afloat. There's some bells ringing at the top. Yeah, I think all the War Demons terrain and War Demons in general came up really cool. It's very very metal, very. It was inspired by Doom. I don't know if you can tell, but it does make me very happy to see how it came out, full of like cool skulls and yeah, skulls. It's just a bunch of skulls on top of skulls, essentially. But yes, so this is the War Demons terrain. It's pretty big, so you can imagine that a standard infantry model, human size model, would come at about like halfway the size of the door. So this is quite a big piece. The piece can also be built separately, so you can make the door just standalone, or you can have just a little hill standalone. You can have just that little side, island with the throne. You can have that standalone. You can separate the bridge. So as always, we try to make the terrain a little modular, especially the larger ones, so that you can get more bang for your buck. So yeah, you can make a lot of cool stuff. If you need, some sort of cool, weird, um, hanging pillar with lava, you can, you can get it here. How about making that thing hollow so you could put a cell phone in it? I mean, maybe that would be cool. Didn't really think about that when we made it, to be honest. Okay, so terrain. Terrain is out of the way. Oh yeah, I suppose for those that haven't seen the posts on Patreon about it, we are currently facing some issues with the terrain. Essentially, terrain production kind of stopped for a moment, and um, we're basically having a new team work on the terrain, and the idea is that we're basically going to be able to produce terrain um, more efficiently, faster, more printer friendly, more optimized, better cuts and better everything. But this is going to take some time. So essentially, terrain is delayed. So sorry. So the Change Demons small terrain, which was supposed to come out in August, is still going to come out, but sometime in September. Anybody that supported in August is still, of course, going to have it in their library. Don't worry, like you paid for it, you're gonna get it. But further change terrain is essentially on pause. Well, the production is going, but we're not going to be releasing it in September unless we somehow manage to get some of it done before the end of it. I don't really want to promise anything with the terrain stuff. So what we're gonna say is, look, we're gonna keep releasing the War Demons terrain fully because we have the full line done, and then as soon as we have the full change terrain done, we're gonna start releasing that. And we were also supposed to be releasing Jackal's terrain, but that has also been put on hold. So only once we have all of that stuff done, then we'll start releasing again. Yeah, I'm not really happy with the idea of um, releasing a terrain set as it's being developed. Um, and yeah, I don't want to promise something that we can't deliver. What are some of the challenges in creating terrain? Um, Terrain is different. It just hmm okay. How can I put this? The thing about terrain is that we have a very specific concept in mind for it, and to achieve it takes, um, let's say, a little bit of a different skill set, different mindset than making the anatomy of whatever creature and then putting some armor on it and posing it. It has other constraints for printing because it's so large. We have to make sure that everything has the right size. We have to make sure that everything can fit smaller printers, so the cuts have to be a certain way. And I feel like whilst the terrain that we made so far looked very good, it has some issues in that department. Um, so yeah, that's some of the challenges. Basically, like adapting to printability and making sure it follows the concept, making sure the scale is right, and all that stuff. Okay, that's terrain. Let's move on to the next thing because we are on a time budget. Star host. Okay. Okay. So here we go. This is the star host for September. For anyone that has been following us since we released the original Saurians, the Starhost releases basically follow the exact same pattern. So, Starhost release 3 is actually just a mirror of Saurians release 3. So, if you know what the next releases are, if you go to my mini factory, you can see what's going to happen. Cool. Starhost, what do we got? We got three things. We got some hero with the frog mage. We got guardians in 2 variants, and then we got the Ankylosaur with 2 different weapon options. All right, let's start with the frog mage. So the frog mage. All right, frog mage, pretty cool dude. We have 2 versions of it. We have the let's say the more classic headgear type of frog. This is similar to what we have in fantasy. Pretty cool guy, full of tubes and stuff like that. He actually has 4 eye sockets in his helmet. Not 100% sure why he needs 4 eyes when he has 2, but hey, whatever. Maybe it's like psychic eyes at the top. And then we have the version of the closed helmet. As we discussed already in the last stream, we had this concept originally for Starhost where we were going to have these bubble helmet style, whatever, old school spacesuit helmet style heads. But then that didn't really work out, so we changed it. But we vowed to bring it back kind of with like all the psychic stuff. And so we have also a version which kind of has the bubble head. The bobblehead look, which is also pretty cool. It's kind of funky. These guys. We thought let's try something new and have, instead of having just like a little stick for the palanquin, I think that's how you say it, to stand on. We actually have like 3 little jets that propel it up. I think those came out pretty cool. Modular head, modular seat, essentially. You can remove the little blast boost things that keep it up as well. You can use a regular stick if you want. You can just place the platform on the floor if you want. Truly, you could actually use the little jets as bits for other stuff. So pretty cool stuff. That's the frog mage. Let me see if somebody. Do Star Hosts take any inspiration from the Covenant? Actually, some of it a little bit. Like the geckos. The geckos take some inspiration from the Covenant from Halo. In that in Halo you have these guys. I think they're called jackals. I don't remember. And they also have like these shields, these kind of like little energy shields and pistols, and they also have like a sniper version. And that was very much inspired by that. That was the main thing there. Okay, cool. That was the frog mage. Let's move on to the guardians. So the guardians. Another pretty cool unit. So the Guardians, inspired a little bit by the fantasy version, where they have these skull helmets. In the sci-fi version, they also have these sort of Triceratops-like skull helmets as well. Everything about them, they're kind of like the basic warriors, but everything about them is a little bit more badass, let's say. Their armor is a little more badass. They have like these big spikes on their feet. They have these additional spikes on their hands, which they can use to fight. They have cooler helmets. They're pretty badass. I think they're also a little bit bigger. I don't recall, but I think the model's actually like 5% bigger than the regular warriors, and they come with 2 options. So option number 1 is essentially like a melee version of them. They come with these energy hammers. You can see them here, like they're regular energy hammers. And then they also have like a special hammer, which you can see here, which is bigger, bulkier, heavier. And you can put it on all the models. So if you want, you can have all 5 with the regular hammer, or you can have all 5 with the special hammer. And in the rules, actually, the 2 hammers have different effects. So you can use that, as you want. And then there is another version, which is the ranged version. So the ranged version has these sort of maces that also have a little energy gun in them. And yeah, this is like a short range AP1. I think they're 12-inch A2 AP1 attacks. Essentially, they're guardians, right? They're essentially defending the sort of like cryo pyramids that the frog mages protect. Um, and yeah, they're just there like as the bodyguard of the mages, and you can use them for other things. They can be kind of like special units, little spec ops kind of things. Um, yeah, they're pretty cool. And as always with the star host, the heads come with 2 options, right? The closed mouth options with the breathers, or the open mouth options without the breathers. So you can use both of them. I honestly like both of them. I know some people are not fans of the breathing thing, um, but I think it's cool. And actually, I'm gonna show this concept again. Actually, Wolf Dog, who is the original concept artist for these, had a concept that he drew for how the rebreather actually works. Let me show you. Yeah, and so he had this idea that actually the rebreather goes down their throat, which I don't know. I feel like there's something gruesome and cool about it. Kind of grimdark in a sense of these guys just shoving the rebreather down their throat. Um, but yeah. Okay, cool. That's the Guardians. Let me see if there are any questions. Is there a plan on having a painting scheme in the future? How do you think they would look? So we've actually posted some painted models of them on the Instagrams. And the basic scheme we're going for now is kind of like a white armor. Actually, I got a model here I can show you. It's like a white armor thing. Wait, no, I'm not gonna pick up the model because it's gonna be tiny. You're not gonna be able to see it on camera. But I'm just gonna show you here. So yeah. So let me see. Okay. Yeah, you can see the paint scheme here. So this is so usually our Saurians are purple, actually not blue. But we thought, to give people a little bit of like a familiar feel in the models when they see them painted, we decided to keep the skin blue. But yeah, you can see the paint scheme here. So it's like white with golden bits. And yeah, so this is one of the warriors. You can see the gecko, although the gecko was I mean, now I'm showing older models, but yeah. So you can see the gecko here, also blue and with his white armor. You can see his cool shield that kind of like refracts light. And then, of course, we also got a gator painted, and you can see you can see the gator, which I think came up pretty badass. So yeah, white, a sort of white with gold highlights. That's what I would go for. So in the future, once we do the faction books, we will actually be providing a bunch of like different ideas and different paint schemes and lore with them and different star hosts and stuff like that. But for now, we're keeping it simple. What other questions are there? Why claws on the left arm, not the right? I'm gonna be honest, no particular reason. Just because it looked cool to have like a an offset thing, an imbalance there. Maybe they hold the weapon with the right and then they still claw with the left. No heavy shield option. So when the heavy shield option in the rules is not an actual shield. It's meant to be more. Oh, actually, is it called heavy armor? Let me double check. But it's meant to be more like an energy field rather than than an actual shield. With OPR and minis and agnostic games, a lot of times the options that we give are not actually reflected on the model, because we want that flexibility. Yeah, hardened elites. Oh, it's called heavy shield. Yeah, I suppose it's heavy shield because it's supposed to be like an energy field shield. How tight should we sit and wait for 2 minutes from Star Host? It's gonna take a while before we get to them. Okay. No more questions about these. Let's go to the Ankylosaur. We're still on time. Okay, good. The Ankylosaur. So actually, all right, little story. Let me see if I can find a picture of it. Actually, let me see. Wolf dog. Sorry, maybe like that. Actually, the way that the whole Star Host thing even began was that many years ago, I saw. Let me pull it up. I had seen. Yeah, there we go. I had seen this piece of art from Wolf Dog. And I thought, man, would it not be cool if one day we could make something like this, right? Like, I'm a huge Lizardman fan, and I always loved the idea of having like a sci-fi version of them. And it seems that the stars aligned and OPR grew, and so I managed to actually hire Wolf Dog to make the Ankylosaur. Ours doesn't look exactly like this, of course, but this was the original inspiration. So there you go, a little OPR background lore story, whatever, for you. Okay, so the Ankylosaur. All right. So here we go. So it comes with two gun options. So he's like big, chunky, super shielded guy. He has a 2-up save with an additional AP -1 um, defense thing. So it's actually really tough to bring down. Very heavy shielding. Anything from his head. Well, all of his top is very heavily shielded. I kind of always imagined it that he would sort of like hunker down, so he becomes almost like a turtle. But you can see lots of details. Lots of symbols and runes and cables and energy packs and whatever that they have on. And then, yeah, you have two little geckos in the back manning the gun. And it comes with two guns options. They have this sort of double barrel. Again, sorry, I don't have all the names of the things in mind right now, but I think it's like a twin something cannon. It's a twin fusion cannon, which is brutal. 24 inches, A2, AP4, deadly 6. Jesus Christ. Okay. Yeah, so this thing is going to melt tanks. And then it comes with another version, which is the heavy plasma burster. 30-inch A4, AP4, blast 3. Jesus Christ. Okay. Very powerful weapons. Very powerful weapons. I totally forgotten about that. Yeah, and you can swap them out. You can of course make just the Ankylosaur without the guns if you don't want the guns, or if you want to put the guns somewhere else. The geckos are also optional. You don't have to put the geckos if you don't want. As always, we give you as many options as we can. I have another piece of another render here that I can show you for scale. I mean, if the geckos were not enough for scale, so he big. Actually, the angle here is a bit weird. Whatever. He big, and he has like a big mace tail in the back. So last time, okay, you can see it here. Yeah, last time on the stream we tried to like showcase the actual 3D models with the Microsoft 3D Builder software, but it was messy, and so I'm just gonna be showing off renders. But yes, the big ass tail that destroys enemies. And yeah, he's strong. The mace tail itself actually is A4 AP2, strong. So get ready to crush some battle brothers. Yeah, they have no chance against this guy. Okay, so that's the star host for September. Oh wait, let me see if there's any questions about the Ankylosaur. Do the Ankylosaur riders still have battle damage? Not sure what that means. The star host models truly don't have any battle damage on them. We wanted them to have a sort of compared to the robot legions, which also have like this white, super high-tech sci-fi armor, but filled with damage, and we wanted the Saurians instead to be more clean. With the Star Host, it's very easy when you have these lizard men, Saurian models, to accidentally step into the vibe that they're like brutish, just because they're beasts and they're fierce and they have these big claws and big jaws and whatever. And so if we went for like a more scrappy look, I think they would immediately look like they're sort of orky or evil or something like that, and that's definitely not what they're supposed to be like in the lore. So yeah, I wanted them to be clean and pristine. But there's nothing stopping you from putting your own battle damage on them. Are the weapons in the Gecko platform fixed, or can I retire them and have just Ankylosaur? You can remove the stuff on top. So you can remove the gun, you can remove the geckos, and I'm pretty sure. Let me double check. I have the model here. Pretty sure you can remove the bar as well, where like the railing that they hold on to. But let me just confirm that with you right now. Is this? Yes, you can remove the railings. You can also actually remove the two little banners at the front, I see. So yeah, you can remove all the stuff and have just the Ankylosaur by itself. Okay, cool. All right, so that's the Star Host. Star Host September done. Cool. That was, and we're on time. Cool. I'm kind of planning 30 minutes to 45 minutes per faction. Wait, per faction. Oh no, I was playing 15 minutes per faction. All right, this stream might end up longer than I thought it would be. So I'm gonna go faster. I'm gonna try to go faster. Okay, so that was the Star Host. Let's go for the Change Demons. So what do we got for Change Demons? All right, so there you go. Change Demons. This is going to be a lot of models because we have the Change Horror thing, which is 18 models just by themselves. Plus, you're going to get 3 Flamers, plus an Exalted Flamer, plus the Chariot. Plus, you're going to get the Ascended, which comes with 3 versions. Plus, you're going to get the Soul Demon, which comes with 5 options. So lots of models for Change Demons. Let us start from let us start from the horrors. So the horrors were actually very interesting to make from a concept standpoint, and then from a modeling standpoint. So essentially, we wanted to make sure that having the 3 evolutions or de-evolutions or whatever of the horrors, that it felt natural, and that also didn't end up taking up too much work, right? Like we always have to like sort of balance the two things, like making things that are awesome but also making things that are feasible for us. So here we have the biggest version of the horrors. I'm just gonna call them large, medium, small, so that people that don't know like the actual namings in the rules don't go crazy. Okay, so here we have the large versions. Large versions have 6 arms. They have 3 eyes and they have big wings. That's their main differentiators from the other. So they start big. They come with lots of weird poses. They have like this weird like moving forward pose, and they always like hold their arms because they can also like cast. They kind of like shoot fireballs or something like that. They shoot like energy spells. So this is the large version. And then whenever you kill a large one, it splits into two medium ones, and this is the medium one. So you can see the evolution essentially. So the medium ones have less eyes, their beaks are smaller, they're also smaller in stature. They have smaller wings. They lost 1 set of arms, so from 6 they go down to 4. And here also we have some cool poses. We actually have a sort of like Naruto running pose, which I thought was funny. Yeah, that's the medium ones. And then whenever you kill a medium one, it turns into 2 small ones. Well, in the game, it's 1 base with 2 small ones because they're really small. But yes, when you split one, it goes into 2 small ones. And here are the small ones. So again, the de-evolution, right? Like these ones are so small, they don't have wings, so they have kind of like this semblance of a wing in the back. They don't have wings. They only have one eye. They don't even have a beak. And they come in pairs, and each pair has like a funny little pose, kind of showcasing their personality. So you split from large to medium to small, and then when you kill the smalls are gone. Now, we thought it would be funny um, if we actually added poses for um, the act of splitting, and so we actually made them. So you're actually gonna get 3 additional models. I don't know if you can really use them in the game. They're just for fun. Paint them, have some fun with them. And yeah, it's basically like a large horror that's just tearing open its mouth with its forearms, and 2 medium horrors are kind of like spawning out of it. I don't know that you can really see it here in the render, but actually part of their bodies is like melted together, and you can really see that they're like tearing open and becoming 2 new models. And then we have the same thing for the medium. So when the medium dies, he's just kind of like there with his mouth open, and the small ones jump out. And also the small ones are kind of like separating. Here you can see better, like his arm is actually part of the other one, and they're just kind of like melded together. And then finally, when you kill the small ones, well, they're dead. So we actually have a little pose of them being dead. Hold on, I think I have a better render where you can see what they look like from the top. But yes, these were fun. I gotta say, these were very fun models to come up with. Let me see. I have a render. Oh, Jesus, so many renders. Yeah, okay, here you can see it. Yeah, you can see from the top. So one guy's just like face planted on the floor, and the other one is kind of like calling for help. Yeah, horrors. The horrors are fun. Okay, let's go for the next thing. By the way, I'm not gonna stop and answer questions immediately because I see that like we need to speed this up, and the questions will be at the end. Okay, so horrors. Horrors are basically like the infantry that you're getting. Then you're gonna get, kind of like another evolution, let's say model thing, which is the flamers. So we start with the basic flamers. So the flamers, very cool models, very ornamented. I really like how they came out. They have all of the same design cues from Change. So like they have the triple eyes, they're birds, without wings. They have like all these ornaments, all these like swirl ornaments. Their backs are actually made of fire, and their arms are these kind of like fire cannons. I don't know if you can really tell from the render, but they're actually quite big. So they're tough 3 models, so they're actually bigger than a standard human infantry. We made them to fit on 40 mil bases. You can actually also fit them on those long, like the oval bases, kind of like the old flamers from Games Workshop. So if you want to proxy, you can use them there. So yeah, 3 flamers, very cool. Simple but effective. And then the flamers go and become exalted flamers. Now here I don't have the render yet, unfortunately, because like I said, we're suffering some delays. But I have, you can see the model from ZBrush. So the exalted flamer, very cool guy, I gotta say. So exalted flamer is now tough 6, so much bigger model. Big beast. He has big flaming arms. He actually has 6 arms. You can see it. Let me see if you can see it here. Yeah, so he kind of like has the lower arms kind of like act like a gorilla thing, where like he holds the floor, and he has arms to shoot with. Very cool. Again, the back is on fire, filled with detail, filled with little like swirly ornaments. He has this cool like cape thing filled with like ribbons that are flying. He has these sort of like tubes that go into his head. Again, the triple eye thing. Very cool. Very, very cool. I can't wait to have a proper render to show you of this guy. Okay, and then so we've had the flamers, then they become an exalted flamer, and then we have the final stage, so to say. Well, it's not a stage, it's not an evolution, but the final thing within the chain, which is the chariot. Unfortunately for the chariot, I don't even have a preview that I can show you yet, but I can show you the concept art. So essentially, it's a combination of a bunch of models that we had already made. So it's going to be drawn by the screechers. You're going to have two screechers essentially dragging a platform. And then yeah, you have this exalted flamer on top that's just kind of like holding on for dear life whilst shooting fire. And he actually has a double head design. Another cool model. Very happy with how this is turning out. Okay, so that's the flamers. Now let's move on to the big stuff. So the Ascended. Let's start with the Ascended. So the Ascended is a big boy. The Ascended is 100 millimeters to the head, with the wings. Huge. Yeah, you can see here a comparison with like a Change Warrior. Big guy, comes with lots of weapon options as always. He has 4 wings compared to the Harbinger, so evolution. Again, similar design cues from the others, right? Like the swirls, the ornaments, the triple eyes, all the cool shit that you can expect from the change demons. And yeah, in terms of options, has lots of options. It has what are they called? It has a power staff, a magic strike, whatever. It has 2 types of staffs, um, both very cool, filled with ornaments. Has a version with just like a hand, sort of like casting a spell. Has a version with like a gauntlet as well. Has a spear, has a hammer, and as always, all weapon options are available on both hands. So you can have double staff if you want, double hammer. You can have both hands empty. However you prefer. Let me see. I think I have some renders here that I can show you of all the weapons, so you can get a good look. So okay, yeah. So we have one staff here. It's actually cool. This guy has like double hands, and so he holds it with both his hands. Yeah, one staff here. Gauntlet. Unfortunately, you cannot see well from this angle, but it's very cool. Trust me. He has, yeah. Here's the hand option. Then the second staff. Also very cool. Has the symbol of change actually on it. Which I also thought was a cool detail. Oh yeah, I don't know if you can see it well here, but like the wings have eyes forming. One of the themes of change is also that it has eyes everywhere. Which if you look at our horrors, actually kind of like recalls the eyes thing there. Also another cool detail. There's like a skull on the base, and he has this thing on his waist. Very cool. And then we have the final version, which is with the spear, and then with the hammer. Yeah, that's the Ascended. Big boy. Yeah, I think this is going to be very cool. A very cool model. Okay, let's go down to the biggest model of them all, which is the Soul Demon. So the Soul Demon, if the Ascended is 100 millimeters to the head, the Soul Demon is 130. So the Soul Demon is huge. This is a tough 18 model. And I just saw a question. Is there a wingless Ascended? Yes. Wings are always optional with our stuff. Yeah. So big guy, very big guy, big and thick model. Again, all the awesome stuff you can expect from change. Lots of ornaments, lots of swirls, lots of eyes. Actually, like he has an eye on the chest, but also his nipples are actually eyes. More eyes, his regular eyes, but then more eyes on the head. Eyes is a big theme here. Cool horns, cool ornaments. I actually have a shot from the back that I can show you, where you can see more. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, super cool cape flowing, ornaments everywhere as always. Yeah, these sort of like horns that come out of the back. Very cool stuff. And then weapon options. Let's talk about those. We have lots of weapon options. So we have 2 versions of the cannon. Let me see if I can show you the individual pictures. Maybe it's easier to tell. We have 2 versions of the cannon. So we have the regular, let's say, power cannon or whatever it's called, change cannon. And then we have the heavy version. The heavy version is bigger, it's bulkier. It actually has like additional hands growing from it. Very weird and cool. And then we have the melee options. So we have axes. As always, the melee weapons are dual-handed, so you can have dual axe version, a dual sword version, sword and axe, all the options that you want. The axes, very cool, very thick, very changed, filled with like ornaments and all like flowy. And then we have the sword as well. Same thing there, lots of ornaments and flowy vibes. And then finally, we also have just a version with with just the claws. Again, if you want the claws, or if you want to do some combos with the claw and a sword, or whatever you prefer. Are the arms modular so you can magnetize them? I mean, yes, the arms. Every time you see a weapon swap, generally speaking, we try to do the cut at the shoulder or at the wrist or at the elbow, so that then, if you wanted to, you could drill a hole and magnetize. But our models are not. They're not made with magnetization in mind. But just the nature of having cuts means you can magnetize them. But yeah, you're gonna have to drill a little hole. Okay, cool. Change demons, done. Another cool release for the change demons. Okay, am I now on time? Let me think. So if I calculate it, we started like at 10:40. Okay, all right. This is gonna run a little longer than I thought. Okay, cool. But that was change. Now let's get to Plague. This is what everybody's been waiting for. Okay, so Plague Demons, a new demon faction for us. Yeah, very cool. The vibe of our Plague Demons is in a way, Plague is a celebration. In our lore, it's a celebration of life through death, eternal life in death. And everything about them is all about fungus and keeping keeping skulls and stuff like that. So if war demons kill their enemies and collect their skulls as sort of like a trophy, um, plague demons collect remains sort of like as a more religious thing. They revere the dead, and they celebrate death. And here you're gonna get a ton of models. This is crazy. I'm gonna be honest. This is crazy. So let's start with the warriors. So the warriors, this is the basic warriors. Very cool. I gotta say, very cool. Really happy with how these turned out. Their whole theme is like this sort of like fungus thing, right? So like you can see that they have fungus shells that act like kind of like as their armor on their head and on their chest, and actually like it kind of opens on the chest as if it was a sort of like coat. On the shoulders as well, lots of layers everywhere. And we wanted to make sure that to give them this vibe of plague, we want to make sure that the materials that they use are all very natural. So generally speaking, all the only things that they use are ropes. They use rags, and sometimes they use a bit of leather, but it's not their main thing. So we avoid things like metal and bolts and anything that feels too constructed, so to say, too man-made. Yeah, these models very detailed, very cool. And each warrior actually has different details. They're not just copy paste. So this was quite some work. You can see like this guy has some mushrooms here. He has a bone with mushrooms growing out of it here. But then the next guy has something else. Like this guy has like a bundle of mushrooms and different types of spores. So each model was handcrafted. Really amazing work. Amazing work. Came out spectacular. And I have heard somebody commenting like, "Oh, these look like they're going to be very, very complicated to paint." But actually, you can basically paint these like in 2, 3 colors. Like, it's just about you make them a base. For example, a green. You put a wash, and then you just paint a couple of details, like the little mushrooms. You can make them red, and then the cord and the ropes, you can make them in like a sort of beige, and there you go. It's a 3-color paint scheme, and it's going to look awesome. So don't worry about them looking like they're hyper detailed. Okay, they come with lots of weapon options. They come with more weapon options than other warriors. This was partly a mistake, partly on purpose, I suppose. It was a good coincidence, a happy mistake. I don't know, how did Bob Ross say it? A happy accident, whatever. Okay, so they come with, well, their basic thing is the swords, right? Oh yeah, this is a cool thing. So the warriors sort of like meld with their weapons. So if you look closely at their hands where they hold their weapons, they actually have parts of them that join the weapon. Um, so they truly are one with their weapons. Very cool. Okay, they come with basic swords, as you would expect. Then they come with a happy accent. Yes, Bob Ross, big Bob Ross fan. Then they come with dual hand weapons. Here they have these sort of sickles. Again, you can see like their vines holding on to the sickles. Very cool. Very cool, the sickles. And you can kind of imagine them. I always like to imagine that the OPR lore is not all just about like war. It's also about all the times where you're not in battle, and the in between, so to say. And I could imagine like that these sickles, sure, they're using them for combat, but actually it's supposed to be like for harvesting. They kind of go and they harvest mushrooms and they harvest other plants, and then they have these sort of like little temples that they bring all their harvested material to. And so these sickles, I kind of imagine them used for that as well. Okay, so that's the dual hand weapon options. Then we have the first great weapon option, which are basically these huge sort of like dual-handed axe glaive things. Very cool. Little mushrooms growing on them as well. Yeah, big heavy glaives. Then we have the second great weapon option, which is these sort of maces. Again, very detailed. They were actually inspired by some real plants that kind of have these balls that little worm-like things come out of. So yeah, you can use these as maces. And then we have the spears. Again, very cool, filled with details. Cool spears. And then we have the halberd version. Similar to the spear, but different. Yeah, also very cool. And finally, we have the command group. I see a question. A bit confused. All these demons are for AOF or dual purpose. They're a dual purpose. You can use them for either AOF or Grimdark Future. And now let's go to the command group. Here's where the fun begins. So we have the champion, the sergeant. Very cool. He has like this special sort of like dual sided axe thing. Reminds me of Star Wars in some ways. And then here you can start seeing one of the things that's like a through line with the various heroes, which is that they have these sort of like face masks filled with holes. And the render doesn't show it very well, but he actually has a fungus braid that comes out of his head, and it's hanging here to the side. Then we have the banner. Again, cool details everywhere. And yeah, we have the banner, lots of little trinkets and stuff hanging. And here's actually, for those that don't know, this is actually the symbol of plague. It's a sort of like, I guess it's like an amalgamation of different concepts, like the eternity of life, the spiral, the circle of life, and also like the mushrooms, the layers of mushrooms. And finally, we have the musician. So the musician has a bagpipe. I have to say, like, all the musicians are coming up really cool for the demons. Yeah, bagpipe demons. Yeah, really cool. Okay, that's the warriors. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the warriors. Let's go to the next thing. Oh yeah, there's a lot of models. Okay, so let's say the evolution then of the warrior is the champion. Yeah, the champion. It's like a warrior, but better. Bigger, bulkier, a little bit more armored. Although armor for them, usually means more mushrooms, and in this case, also like wooden planks that they kind of like attach to themselves. They have these sort of like little knee pad things. Oh, look, there's a little snail buddy on the shoulder as well. Oh yeah, the thing I was talking about before, the detail of the eye, the sort of like eye patch with all of the holes. And weapon options, lots of weapon options. They have so he comes with a hammer, which is kind of like a stone with a piece of jaw and mushrooms. Very cool. Yeah, I highly recommend take a very close look at these models when you print them, because they're filled with cool details. They have a hammer. He has a sword. He has a gauntlet. I think the gauntlet also came out really cool. It has kind of like the segmentation going. Very heroic. And then he actually has a sort of sling. I don't know that it's very visible here in the render, but well, let me show you like this. Yeah, he has this sort of sling that he uses to throw these sort of like pus balls at enemies. There's more weapon options that are not on that picture. Well, yeah, there's also a spear option. Okay, that's the champion. Really cool, amazing work. Now let's go for let's go for the next thing, which is, well, what happens when the champion wants a mount? Well, he gets a suitably disgusting mount. So here we go. This is the throne. Champion on top, just kind of like cheering on his troops. Big spear. Although here the angle doesn't show it well, but he has a big cool spear. And he has his throne, and he has his big slug filled with detail. Lots of mushrooms, skulls strapped to it, all the good stuff. And I particularly love his cute little face. So we have actually two versions of the face. I gotta show you this. So he has two versions of the face. There's an angry face, six little eyes and teeth, and he's like, "Arr!" He wants to kill you. And then there's actually like a cute version where he's just like, "Hey," like a little smile. I think it's adorable. I'm gonna be honest. I'm sure most people will print this one, but please print this one. He's adorable. I think models need to be more adorable. But yeah, that's the throne. Oh yeah, I have a render from the back just to show you. It's filled with detail. And again, very easy to paint. You don't need that many colors um, to get the most out of all these details. Dry brush the hell out of it. Okay, so all right, you got your hero. You put it on a throne, on a snail, not a snail, on a slug. That's cool, but what if you put it on a snail? That's well, I kind of spoiled it there. Yeah, so this is one of those that I don't have the proper renders for it, but this one is also being worked on. The snail version of it. He is slow, but he is deadly. Cool little snail. Again, a little happy face. Although he has like angry teeth. You can actually see that like his big, like he hyper extends his jaw to the point where like they kind of have to, it rips and they kind of have to like put it together with rope. Lots of detail all over the place. Little slime, little mushrooms everywhere. He's actually holding onto some mushrooms to not fall off. And this guy's gonna have like lots of weapon options. So all of the weapons that you've seen on the basic on foot version of the champion, he's actually gonna be able to have them on his left hand. I think the snail is adorable as well. Lovely model. Okay. All right, that was all of that. Okay, let's go into the next thing, which is the flies. Okay, so the plague flies, again, really cool models. So the plague flies, the name says it all, right? They essentially fly. It's warriors with special axes that fly on these sort of like big bucks. Again, unfortunately, these models are filled with details that the renders can't do justice. So take a close look at them when you have them in your hands. Super cool models. You cannot properly see here, but like the eyes are all, as you would expect from a fly. The wings are filled with holes and then other details as well. Very cool. Very cool models. These are quite chunky. If you have the War Demons Beast Rider, you can expect them to be about the same size. So these are tough three beasties. And then you have the basic version with an axe, and then you have the command options. Command options follow the same theme as always, right? Like sergeant, musician, standard bearer. The sergeant, he also has the eye patch thing with the holes. He has a special version of the axe, and he's not sitting on the fly. He's actually like squatting on it, a little Slav squat there for you. We have a banner version, special banner, different from the ones from the warriors, of course. Lots of detail as well. Very cool. And then finally we have a horn. Simple but effective. So yeah, that's about it. Okay, so there's one big black hole here. Let me double check. I asked one of our sculptors to send me. No, but we don't have it in time. Okay. All right. I'm just gonna have to show you the concept art for the Plague Beast. Sorry, I don't have anything better. So the Plague Beast, So you've seen the Change Demons Exalted Flamer, right? Big model. Plague Beast is essentially the same thing, but for Plague. So very big monster. His concept is actually kind of inspired by like frogs. So he has like frog legs. I think at some point we even experimented with a frog-like face. I don't remember, but yeah. Big mean face, and actually this face is, you're gonna see it again. Well, similar for the soul demon. So it's kind of like it's the next evolution of the beast. Yeah, big dude. Yeah, lots of details as always. Yeah, you can see here the little toad legs. Yeah, that's kind of like the idea that he kind of crawls and then he mauls enemies. Yeah, I have seen the 3D model. And it's gonna be cool. Trust me. With that, we're almost done with our segment on the September releases, but we have one last thing, which is the legendary. So let me pull up the legendary. Okay, we have lots of pictures here to take a look at. All right, so bam. All right, the legendary is Dread Gator. So a little bit of history here. For those that have been around for a long time, back in March, April 2021, I think it was 2021, March, yeah, something like that. We had actually released a bunch of we've actually released a bunch of at the time what we called big demon models. But anyway, those models eventually were discontinued, and we archived them. But this particular model, which at the time was supposed to be like a sort of like greater change demon, when I thought that maybe they should look like crocodiles, was everyone's favorite model. People loved it. And so we said, well, instead of just getting rid of this model, since anyway a lot of people were saying that they were using this as a sort of like Dread Saurian, we said, well, why don't we convert it into a Saurian model? And so we did. And so we basically like rescued the old model. The model has been improved in all aspects. The base has been redone. All of the scales have been redone. All of the details have been redone. Everything is new. Everything is better for printing. Everything is more suitable. And everything is also now themed to Saurians. Yeah, we can take a bit of a look around it. Yeah, as you can see, lots of details, lots of cool Saurian, glyph type of stuff. The base was completely redone. Now it's filled with like vegetation and stuff like that. Um, and yeah, you can see there's like big like rocks, not rocks, whatever, rocks with ornaments, with how do you call it? Whatever, cool rocks are strapped to it. And then of course there's a little gecko champion, gecko chief, that is riding it with a special weapon that you don't get anywhere else. Let's take a closer look. Yeah, that's the head. Very cool, very cool. If yeah, maybe I know that's called a dread gator, and maybe for some people it's like, this doesn't really look like a gator. The thing that's maybe breaking the illusion a bit is this piece of metal that he has on top. Without it, you can kind of see that he has like a sort of crocodile snout, which is reminiscent of the gators. But yeah, we thought that this looked too cool to remove. Here is the same guy from the other side. Very cool. You can see the scale. Like his head is the size of the gecko. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, we have a close up of the actual gecko, gecko chief, and his weapon. Cool weapon, cool ornamented head, cool little shield. Let's see what we have. A close up of the base. Yep, lots of details. Look at these feathers. The tail, very cool tail. I can't wait to see people print and paint this thing. Yeah, very cool. And then finally, I have a picture of it with well, with another gecko to scale. But yeah, you can already tell it's big. It's big. Okay, cool. Nice. So this ends our segment on the September previews. Let me see how we are on time. Just to kind of throw this here whilst I think. Just so I have a bit of a notion. So it's now 7:10. I had originally planned 30 to 45 minutes. We start at 10 past. So this should have ended. We're about 50 minutes late, but okay. Okay, figuring this out. Cool. All right. So who is ready for October previews? This is gonna be cool now. So October previews. All right, we're gonna all right, we're gonna start with the boring stuff again, and then kind of like work up to the um, more interesting stuff. I see a question. When are the avatars going to be appearing? So actually, one of the avatars, the avatar of war, is actually part of the loyalty rewards for of the loyalty rewards. So it's going to come out. It's going to be in your inbox in 2 days. The loyalty rewards always go out at the end of the month. Each avatar is going to come out as a loyalty rewards over the next couple of months. And also, each avatar is going to have a special epic version of it, which is going to be released as a legendary unit. So you're actually going to get twice the amount of avatars that you usually would. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. Let's look at October previews. So first off, we've got the war. We've got some war demons terrain. This is the medium terrain. Very cool. Again, very metal. Big skull. This was very much inspired by Doom. Floating rocks. Lots of spikes and skulls and skeletons. There's another version. Oof, I really love this one. A modular, of course, so you can print it without the head, or you can print the head standalone and put it somewhere. And then we have finally another piece. This one actually is also modular. You can have two versions, one with this hanging thing, and one with like this lava ball. Okay. All right. Let's go. All right. We're gonna do Star Host, Plague, Epic Avatar, and then finally we're gonna talk about Lust. Okay. So the Star Host. Okay. So for October, we actually have 3 units coming. I only have concept art for 2 because the third one was made without concept art. Because it's basically like the Star Host, the veteran, the Saurian veteran on a raptor. So it's essentially a combination of the two with a cool pose and all of his weapon options. We didn't make concept art for it. It wasn't necessary. But what we do have concept art for is the dragon lizard and the spike lizard. All right, so let's start with the dragon lizard. Okay, dragon lizard, very cool. This guy, yeah, we had this idea of having like a solar panel vibe to it to kind of like sci-fi up the dragon lizard. But we also made a version without it. The final version is actually more like this, where he has like a regular spine, and then he has all the solar panels on the head. They're actually a little bit different than what we have here, but very much similar to this concept. Yeah, we tried out the one with the spine that had the solar panels, but it just didn't look good. Yeah, cool guy. He has lots of detail, lots of little skull like details as well. Yeah, he's chunk. He's kind of big. So yeah, this is your little flamethrower lizard, and then we have the spike lizard. The spike lizard. Okay, this one's also very cool. So the spike lizard essentially is a mini artillery version of the guy. No tail blade. No, the spike lizard. No, the dragon lizard has no tail blade. He only has like a spike. But the spike lizard actually has like a little mace on his back. Yeah. So the idea here is that essentially they put a bunch of rockets on top of this guy, and then he he's like a short range mortar, short range artillery support. Very cool. We've actually already worked on this model. The final design is slightly changed. We removed the rockets in the back because they looked weird. Instead, we kind of made like a little ammo stockpile that he has in the back. The lizards actually come with 3 gecko handlers. Unlike the fantasy ones where they have like sort of like bait, these guys have some sort of like prods. It says here chameleon prod, but actually it's a gecko. Don't get this mistaken. Yeah, they have like little prods to like, send them towards the enemy and make them fire all their rockets and their ammo. That's it for Star Wars. Actually, like, yeah, I don't have a lot to say. They look cool. That's what I can say. Okay, let's go for Plague. For Plague, we actually have a lot of stuff. So what are we going to get in October? Let me just double check real quick in case I'm missing something, but I don't think so. What are we gonna get in October? No, okay, it's correct. I have everything. Okay. All right, let's start with the Furies. So the Furies. Okay. As you've seen, we have different versions of the Furies for each Havoc God. We've already shown you the War and the Change. Well, you probably already printed the models. And here's the Plague version. The Plague version again follows the same design structure. We wanted to make sure that all of the Furies look coherent, like they all feel similar, but same but different, right? And so here we have the Plague one. It has all the stuff that you would expect from Plague, so like the more organic materials, all of the details of like little bones and skulls and mushrooms. Their heads are more like the ones from the Warriors. You can see that we have like a more basic version, and then we actually have an alternative version with this sort of like wood helmet thing, which I thought was very cool. And yeah, their wings are actually different. So the other ones all have the more classic wings, more bat-like wings or something, and these are more like butterfly wings. To kind of come with like the insect vibe that they have. And yeah, they come also with different weapon versions. So they have the claws version, and then they're gonna have these arm blade versions, which I think are gonna come out pretty cool. Lots of detail on the back. Yes, so this is like this actually is kind of like the Fly Rider as well, as the concept says. Very similar. Yeah, some suggested poses. We always ask our concept artists to give us some ideas for poses, and you can see some pretty cool ones. I hope this one comes out well, because this would look very cool to me. Yep. Furies, cool stuff. Okay, then let's look at. Oh, maybe I should have gone by size. Okay, let's look at an awesome unit like this. I am hyped for. I'm hyped for all of our stuff. I'm gonna be honest, but this I'm particularly hyped for, which is the Plague Swarm. So, Plague Swarm. We kind of threw around a couple of different concepts. We had like these sort of like mushroom men concept as well, but the concept that I liked the most was basically this one. So it's you take a Plague Warrior, but you make it adorable. So they're tiny little cute Plague Warriors, baby weight warriors, coming in different shapes. So you have like a little one that's fatty, and then one that's more skinny. Lots of different like little weapon options. Yeah, somebody wrote Little Mischief Boys. That was the idea. They're silly, they're fun, and they basically just like pile up on the enemies. It would be very cool. Like I don't know if we're gonna be able to, but it would be cool to maybe like give some standalone ones as well, or something. I would love to have like a plushie of these ones. And yes, the idea is that they come in cool poses where they're all just kind of like charging and fighting sillily. Yeah, here you can see a couple of different options. So like spear options, some sort of like shield, a banner. Very dynamic, I have to say. Very cool concepts. banner version. And yeah, like the little setups that are different. A little guy like shooting with a sling, adorable. I'm all for little adorable miniatures. Yeah, cool stuff. Very cool stuff. Hype. I'm absolutely hyped for these. Okay, now let's go by order of size. So, Plague Harbinger. So Harbingers are like 70 millimeter tall models. Um, they're basically like the next step up from the champion. Um, and oops. By the way, I just realized. Okay, cool. My camera's still on. Everything's working. Okay. Okay. Harbinger. Yeah. Next step up from the warriors, and as the plague creatures or demons, whatever, get bigger, their shape also starts to mutate more. They become bulkier. They become um, again a little bit more frog-like in some ways, like in their feet. They become heavier, and their faces actually start to kind of morph with their neck also, and like the spine, basically their spine starts getting exposed. It's almost like the spine is bursting out from the mushrooms. Lots of mushrooms as always. Symbols. Um, yeah, we kind of had this idea that as they become bigger, they sort of have like this little crown formation almost on their forehead. Yeah, uh, yeah, cool stuff. 70 millimeters tall. Lots of weapon options. The usual stuff that you can expect from harbingers, right? So like the sword, the gauntlet, the hammer, um, the spear, and then the ranged option. In this case, the sling. Yeah, very cool. Look at that, baby flies. Uh, Very cool. Um, yeah, lots of details. These guys are awesome. Um, yeah, some ideas for the pose. Yeah, dual handed, so you can always put the weapons in each hand. Very cool. And unlike the rest of the plague stuff, the harbinger actually has wings, or well, an option for wings. As always, like I said, we provide options with and without wings, but yeah, they have wings similar to something like the flies or the furies. That's kind of like their thing. Yeah, very cool. Very cool. I think with the wings, actually, it's gonna look very badass. Okay, so the champions, become harbingers, and once the harbinger gains the favor of their god, they ascend and they become the ascended harbinger. And there we go. So the ascended version essentially is a bigger, badder, more badass version of the harbinger. This is a brand new concept. I literally got this today. So very cool. Um, yeah, head continues to evolve. The crown now even more pronounced. Yeah, we have this idea of like this sort of like mushroom beard thing that they have. A big skull on the shoulder filled with fungus and trophies and stuff. So he kind of like brings stuff around. We had this idea, which we'll have to see if we can fully execute it then in 3D, of having like a sort of pouch at the front, where he also like collects trophies, and stuff like that. But yeah, very cool. Spine coming out in the back, also very cool. Um, yeah, you can see more details here for the sculptors and how things are like offset. Like I said, as they get bigger, they kind of like get deformed. And then the weapon options. Yeah, lots of weapon options for them. Cool stuff. And yeah, suggested pose. Yeah, as always, they're gonna have options on both hands. You get the drift. I think by now everyone is kind of like in the loop of it. So yeah, that's the ascended harbinger. This is now champion is 32 millimeters. Harbinger is 70 millimeters. This now goes up to 100 millimeters. So this is a big guy, and then we go into something even bigger, which is the Soul Demon. So the Soul Demon, 130 mil tall, big guy, big guy. Follows the same pattern as the Plague Beast, like I mentioned before, like the face. It's an evolution of the Plague Beast face with like the big lower jaw and the big spikes. The spine, splitting open the body and coming out from the back. Lots of details, lots of trophies, lots of mushrooms, as always. And then weapon options. So he comes with multiple weapon options. He has two versions of the cannon. Similar to the other soul demons as well. So different cannon versions, and then some sort of like gauntlet version, and then a sword, big ass sword. I have seen the 3D model of this, and it is very cool. It's very cool. Okay, so that's the Soul Demon of Plague. All right, let's go into the next thing, which is okay. So this is the loyalty reward for for October, and this is the epic avatar of war. So basically imagine you take the avatar of war and you make him even more badass. That's kind of like the idea here. So more details, more ornaments, more skulls, as you can imagine from war. Lots of detail. Basically, so the main anatomy is the same, but all the details are different. Different head, a more badass head, huge sword, other details for his shoulders, um, a big whip, triple whip filled with skulls. This one is gonna be big. So the avatar of war is already like 130 mil, and then this one is made in pose. So legendary units are always designed in pose. That's the idea. That's why they're so dynamic, and they're designed as gaming pieces in mind, but more as display pieces. That's kind of like the idea of a legendary versus a loyalty reward. Loyalty reward is more of a game piece. Legendary is more of an exhibition piece. But of course, you can use this in the game. And here is the pose that we want. So he's essentially like charging forward with his big whip and sword and open wings, and looks awesome. Kind of reminds me of a Balrog in some ways. Very cool. Debris, a bridge. It's gonna be amazing. That's the epic for October. That's the legendary for October. Yes. Yep. Okay. Cool. All right. Let's get into the last thing for the previews. So we are going to talk about lust demons. Now, a lot of people, I think, have big expectations for lust demons, so we are putting in a lot of effort into making sure that they look like what we want them to look like. They look like whatever. You understand what I'm saying? Before I start showing off the concept, so this is very, very, very much work in progress. Everything that I'm going to show you now, the other concepts are finished. This that I'm showing you now is all absolutely new. Everything is subject to change. So look at it, fall in love with it, but be ready to forget it. Anything you see now might be completely changed. It is unlikely that that the whole idea is going to completely change. We're not going to suddenly make, I don't know, frog or whatever, lust demons, whatever. Yes, everything that you're going to see now is subject to change. Also, important thing to note: for us, lust demons does not mean sexy demons. Does not mean sex. Lust for us is not a sexual lust. For us, it's more of a lusting for power. That's kind of like their thing. They're lusting for power. They're lusting for perfection. They're lusting for greatness. So don't expect naked models, and I'm also gonna explain some things now. Okay. All right, let's start with the first page. So the first thing we're gonna take a look at is the Lust Warrior exploration. Well, okay, wait. Before I even go into that, let me show you um, the original concept overview that we had done. So whenever we make a faction, we start actually with a sort of like overview, where we kind of like get a vibe for the faction, and then we move on to making the actual um, concepts. So this was the original concept. They are the inspiration is somewhere between a oh damn, no, I don't remember the name. They're somewhere between like snakes and sirens, something like that. It's an all-female faction for now. Although there is a possibility, of course, that we're gonna make male models in the future, but for now we're making them all female. And yeah, their vibe is kind of like this. This is for me their main vibe that we're going for. So they're supposed to look beautiful. They're supposed to look elegant. They're supposed to look powerful, and also they're supposed to look in a way they fool you, right? Like they greet you with their elegance and with their calmness and with their control. But if you make them angry, then they become real monsters. So that's kind of like their vibe. So this was the original concept overview for them, and now we move on to the exploration that we're currently doing. So the warriors. Okay, again, very early, and you can literally see how our ideas shift here. So that's actually kind of cool. So we start with just like some ideas for shapes. Shapes for the warriors. We have shapes for the riders. So one of the things that is a bit challenging is that the lust demons, we have this concept, right, of them being like snake women. And that's a very cool concept, but it also means you now have some very practical problems to solve. For example, how do you make a mounted unit that is a snake? How do you make a giant that is a snake, and so on and so forth? Yeah, and you can see here actually like the early exploration of that. So the idea that they have these sort of like creatures, these four-legged creatures that they kind of like wrap around. Very cool. So here are some of like the initial exploration of heads, the more calm head, the angry head. I wasn't a huge fan of this, so we kept moving forward with other ideas. Some initial exploration of weapons, interesting stuff here as well. And then we have essentially here like the first concept of like, well, what would it look like in action? So here, for example, you can see like there are parts that I don't like and that I don't want. So she has very large breasts. That's something that we definitely don't want. We don't want to sexualize the model. We want the model to be feminine, sure. We want the model to look powerful and but we don't want to sexualize the model. So this forget the cleavage. Oh yeah, we actually had some exploration of like, well, what would it look like if they had legs instead of tails? From a production standpoint, I think that doing legged versions of them would be the easiest. That is the truth. That is the honest truth. It would be much easier. It would solve a lot of problems for us. But you can't deny that the snake versions look very cool. So we're going forward with the snake versions. If Fran is watching, this one's for you. Okay, so more exploration here. Different poses. Very cool pose. Very powerful as well. Again, still here. Too naked, too sexy, too sexualized. But it's the form is starting to take shape. Here we had one concept of like, what if since they're like snake-like, what if they have shapes in them that are that sort of remind us of snakes, and so they have this shape here, the muscle that kind of like opens up so that their torso is actually a little bit like a cobra, if you look at it closely. And yeah, so explorations of like, how do we actually make a snake model fit on a 25 mil base, and then more exploration. So now here we're already going more for like, okay, well, what can the body look like? Okay, so now here the armor is better, the breasts are not exposed anymore, the exploration of heads, elegant but also scary. Then we again, like I said, this is all very early, very early. So here's some more exploration, like the idea of like, what if they had horns? What do you have if they had different types of horns? An idea for the champion. So uh, yeah, here you can really see like the idea is that they should look elegant, right? Um, they should be very elegant, feminine and elegant, not sexy and naked. I know some people I've seen on the Patreon posts, some people commenting like, oh, are they going to be not safe for work? Are they going to be naked? Are they going to be sexy? Are they going to be hot? That's not what we're going for. If you're looking for, sexy models, that's not at all what we're doing here. I'm sorry, I guess. Yeah. Okay, then we have some more explorations. Yeah, here now we're exploring other things. So, shapes of heads, shapes of different creatures. Okay, here we have the warrior again. Here we have like now we have a more developed version of the the, the creature that they ride on. Different ideas for weapons. The idea that the weapons could split. The idea that they're almost like pincers in a way. Yeah, more heads. Ideas for fiends with different shapes. This is kind of like half snake, half legged. Here's a fiend that only has tails. Here's a more centaur-like fiend. More exploration of fiends. This is again the more centaur-like fiend. And again, everything is subject to change. This is very, very, very early. Don't get attached to these concepts. We are not getting attached to them, so you definitely shouldn't get attached to them. More snake-like designs, right? Exploring the snake idea. Oh yeah, this is actually based on. So here we were exploring like different heads for the riders, for the creatures that they ride. Um, and yeah, we had this idea of like the sort of like almost like a pterodactyl style head, and so then you can see here like, well, what if you take the pterodactyl style head and you use it for the centaur models? Yep, still early. More exploration, more heads. Okay, this is kind of funny. Looks like it's smiling. Yeah. Here an idea of it like a legged version, almost looking like a minotaur. The idea here is that it has like a mask. I very unlikely that we'll use this one, but I really do love the concept. So maybe you can expect this sort of concept somewhere else at some point. Yeah, creature, and then yeah, a very, very, very early exploration of what would a chariot be like. So with two of the creatures drawing it, and then like the snake ladies on top. Um, and then I have one final page of more exploration. So this is kind of like an army overview. Basically, we at the beginning of creating the armies, after we have the original like concept pitch, we do create like an overview where we say, okay, well, let's have a very, very early draft of all of the unit in the army, so that we can then see like, well, which elements can we, take from one unit to the other, what makes sense in the army as a whole, what doesn't fit, and so on and so forth. So here you can get like an army overview, and it has like I think 90% of the units are here. So yeah, we have the warriors, we have the champion, right? You've seen these before. The chariot. We have the harpist. Here's a couple of ideas of the harpist. Again, this is very early. I literally got these concepts today. Yeah, early version of the harpist has some elements of those blades actually. Still the fiend version that we've kind of seen before, the smiley version. The beast riders. And then, okay, now we go into things that we haven't seen before. So, like an early version of a harbinger with more arms, extended arms, more tails. No, bigger tails here. The idea is that as they develop, as they evolve, so to say, towards perfection, they get more tails and stuff like that. So yeah, here you can see alternative version of the harbinger, an ascended harbinger. So now the extended arms that it had that were blades now are so big they're also used for support. The ascended version would have then wings, and then we go for the avatar version. Again, very, very early. But cool stuff. Lots of tails. Lots of elements here. Yeah, I wonder Is Fra here in the chat? Let me see. I don't know if he's here. Fuck. Okay, I literally have to text him right now because I had an idea. All right, all right. I texted him. Cool. All right. Okay, and with this, we have seen the last demons. That's it. That's it. We are done. We're actually on time. So I took 10 minutes to start. Then I counted like an hour and a half for the main stuff, and then we now have, I'm gonna say, about half hour for Q&A. I'm gonna pop up some just some piece of art or something. Let me see. All right, whatever. Let me just put the September release up. Okay, so all right, Q&A time. All right, I'm gonna scroll up a little and see if there were any questions that I can already answer from here. Yeah, this is your time to ask questions. Feel free to ask about pretty much anything. You can ask about OPR as a whole, the games, the company, the lore, the models, the future, whatever controversies, the speculations, love. I don't know. Feel free to ask anything. That's kind of what I'm saying. All right, let me see what we have here. Do we have a Skrilla-like creature? I don't know what a Skrilla is. I'm gonna Google it right now. Skrilla creature. Skrilla. Oh, it looks like a Medusa. No, we don't have any plans for this. Well, I didn't even know this was a thing. We don't have any plans for a creature like this. Generally speaking, you can expect that for now we're going to be filling out army rosters, and then in the future is when we're going to start like adding new units to armies. So maybe they could come out in the future. Mm, 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 mm. Oh god. Oh, the chat moved. Blah 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 blah. No Skrill-like creature. Okay. Any rats? Rats are coming in November, so you can expect previews for them in next month's stream. Yeah, because the idea is that I'm gonna do this stream every month. Ideally on the last Thursday of every month. This month I was traveling, so I couldn't. But yeah, ideally in the last Thursday of every month, I'm gonna be doing a new stream, and so next stream you can expect rats. What I can tell you for now is we have a lot of concepts for rats already, and literally this week and last week we have been working on the base anatomies and very very early sculpts for the armor. They look pretty cool, I gotta say. Oh, and in an effort, like I know I say this a lot, and I feel like people don't believe it, but like we want to add more diversity in our models. I like the idea of having male and female models for all of our factions. Well, where it makes sense, I suppose. And so actually, we are going to be giving all of the Ratman models in male and female form. I was looking at the female versions today, and they are adorable. So yeah. Blah blah blah. Back in the day, you walked away from one page 40K for like a year. And when you came back, seemingly rejuvenated to push ahead of OPR in the future. What was the lost period? So actually, I wasn't gone for a year. So what happened was I was gone for 3 months. Basically, I had a lot of life changes happening. So at the time, this was not my full-time job. I had a full-time job, and I was freelancing, and I was doing OPR at the same time. And then, some personal life things happened where I was just like, I have to take a break. I couldn't concentrate on OPR. and I had to basically concentrate on myself and my life and figure my life out for a bit. And then after 2-3 months, yeah, something like that, I was ready again. I was excited, and so I came back even stronger. It was cool. Ratman Infos, Grimdark or Fantasy? I see this question all the time. I'm not sure why. Because I'm pretty sure in every post we mention Fantasy Ratman. So the Ratman that are coming now are going to be Fantasy Ratman. Eventually in the future, we're definitely going to make Sci-Fi Ratman. But for now, it's the Fantasy ones. How far out are Grimdark Future spaceship models? Honestly, quite far out. So the whole demons thing has thrown a wrench in all of our plans essentially, because it ended up being a lot more work than I originally expected. So we are putting everything that is non-essential on hold, and unfortunately, the FTL, Grimdark Future FTL models are part of that. As soon as we have time for it, we're gonna go back into that, start with the concepting, and then start making the models. I'm going to be honest, don't expect them in 2022. That's more of like a very, very optimistically, you will start seeing something in first quarter of 2023. Very optimistically, I would expect more like second quarter of 2023. Something like that. Don't quote me on that. Do you get a chance to play? How often? I'm gonna be honest. Nowadays I don't get a chance to play very often, which is sad because I love the games. I'm now in that state where I would much rather watch people play than actually play, just because of like time constraints that I have. And I'm always so busy with running the business and expanding the business. Like, you guys don't see it on your side yet, but over the last 6 to 9 months, the company has grown exponentially. We are now a staff of 35 to 40, depending on how you exactly count it. And that has meant, and plus I was working on the demons thing, and that has meant a lot of things going on in my life where I don't find the time to play, because I want to enjoy myself when I play, and I'm exhausted. So I am very happy whenever you guys make a game on the playing online thing. Hop on the voice chat and stream. If I have the time, I will very happily join streams and watch and chat with you, and um, give you strategy tips and talk about the future. I'm happy to engage with the community in that way. How are the rad people coming along? Good so far. Yeah. When do you think all demon avatars are going to be available? I really want all demons. Okay, so I can give you a very precise thing there. So unless anything goes wrong, as always, the caveat there. So you can expect. Okay, Avatar of War. Hold on. Loyalty. Okay, so Avatar of War is going to be a loyalty reward from August all the way to November. Then from December until March, the Avatars of Change and the Avatars of Plague are going to be the loyalty rewards. And then finally, the Avatar of Lust is going to be a loyalty rewards from April until July. That being said, those are the loyalty reward versions of the avatars. The legendary model version of the avatars are coming out. War in October, Change in November, Plague in December, and Lust in January. So by January, you will have at least one version of each avatar out. And then by April, you're going to have also all of the epic versions. If you stay subscribed. Any chance for orcs? At some point in the future, sure. We want to make every army that we have rules for. We want to make models for. It's a matter of time, right? Like we only have so much staff, and we only have so much time. Yeah, we are we are expanding, like I said. The company is growing, which also means that slowly we're going to be able to produce things faster, which means we're probably going to be able to start making more armies per year. Not necessarily to be released on Patreon, maybe to release via crowdfunding and something like that. Um, but yeah, we want to get to everything. But, again, talking a bit about like the exponential growth thing, where people are like, "Oh, you have 10,000 patrons, like you should be a huge company now." It doesn't really work like that. Expanding a company is a process, because every new artist that you onboard, has to be coached, has to be trained, has to really integrate. You have to integrate them into the pipeline. You have to make everything work well. Everything has to go smooth, and then okay, you can start maybe hiring more. And then also there is like we currently have the way that it's organized. We have a bunch of artists, and then we have like a team lead for each artist, and then I'm the whatever project manager with CEO, whatever I do a bit of everything. But there is only so many people that each team lead can manage, right? So if we want to make more content, it means we need, we need more. For example, we would need more concept artists, but that also means we need a new team lead for the concept team to take care of that team, and then we'll also need more sculptors, which means hiring a bunch of new people, and then also hiring a new lead for that. And then at that point, now we're talking about the size of the project will be big enough where I don't know that I am going to be able to manage all of these team leads. So then at that point, you need to start introducing project managers on top of the leads. So it's not that linear. It takes time. But yes, to answer the original question, any chance for orcs? Eventually. Could you please do resin volume estimates on larger prints? Not likely. I don't see why we would do that. Can we still expect a poll at the end of the year to determine new 3D model ranges? So I have spoken about this at the beginning of the year after the big poll debacle happened. This is what's going to happen. I am thinking January, we are going to make a poll showing you a bunch of ideas for, some of the ideas that we already had for different armies, for previous armies that were not picked, and new ideas for armies. We're going to show you a bunch of ideas, and we're going to make I don't want to call it really a poll, but let's say a poll. We're going to make like a little poll where we show you all of them, and you get to tell us which ones you like. But we're not going to show you the results, and we are not going to base what we do next on those numbers. Those numbers are to give us an estimate of like, well, where is the interest? And then we will see what we are interested in doing, and then we will base it on that. Because I don't want the thing of okay, one of the big problems of the polls was that think about it like this: you make a poll, you have 5 armies on there. 10,000 people vote, right? And no matter who wins, other people are losing, and a lot of people are losing, and expectations are created because now you've seen that stuff, and you see, oh, the stuff I wanted was just in second place, and all of these things, and this is a lot of pressure for us. And at the end of the day, in order to make sure that we can create the best stuff for you, it has to be done on our terms. So there will be polls, and we will take your opinions into consideration, but we're not going to show you results, and we're not going to base ourselves on like whatever got voted most. We'll make our own decisions. The poll is more of a way, yes, to see what you think, because the comments are going to be the most valuable thing. Truly, it's like people just talking about like, hey, I love this concept, but I don't know, maybe I don't know, the weapons look weird, or maybe I don't know, I love this other concept and give me more of that. Like just getting a vibe. Is important for us, but we're not going to make the community decide our next project again. Do you have any worries with the GW Colts 3D situation? I have no idea what you're talking about, and I don't see why we should be worried about anything. We don't do anything that infringes on anyone's IP or copyright. So that's it. You mentioned that OPR is more than just war, that you try to imagine the world's races existing in peace as well. how do demons fit into that in OPR lore? So the demons, it's a bit complicated, let's say, but the demons truly are. Okay, I really want to talk about lore, but I don't want to talk too much about lore because it's not all out yet. But broadly speaking, the demons are just another faction. They are a faction of. They're different factions of gods that create their followers, so to say, that spawn followers to help them fulfill their obsessions. And those are not necessarily related to death. They're not beings of destruction. They're not beings of death. Well, I mean, plague demons are kind of beings of death. They're not there just to fight. They can be good guys. There's no reason why they should be evil, according to our lore. Question: I know you mentioned there were some issues with creating environmental art. Are you guys looking for any help in that area? I'm an experienced artist. If you're wondering, yeah, send me your CV, send me your portfolio. onepageanon@gmail.com. We'll take a look at your portfolio. If you have an art station, even better. Yeah. When it comes to Battle Sisters, what are their themes? Will they go into Battle Nun from 40k, or guys going in different directions? So, Battle Sisters, we've already shown part of them off. And funny enough, out of all of the factions that we're doing, in some ways, Battle Sisters are the ones that are closest to the 40k look. But because that fits into our lore, the Battle Sisters, to give you a little summary of what their lore is like, you essentially during the Great Escape from Earth, and basically the space battles that then happened on the way to the wormhole that leads humanity to Sirius. There is a young woman that she's kind of like a what do you call it, Joan of Arc, whatever character, and she basically like helps the rebellion to like survive, and once they arrive in Sirius, she helps unite everyone. Well, not everyone, but like she helps unite part of humanity and survive in this new harsh environment. And she essentially she ends up sacrificing herself to save her people, and so she's kind of then revered as not as a goddess, but like they do call her the God Queen. That's not a name that she gave herself, but she's kind of like a holy figure. And so the Battle Sisters are essentially these women that follow in the path of the God Queen, and so there is a nun, a religious kind of gothic, well, not gothic, but a religious nun element to them. How are the rat people in the lore? Depends if you're asking grimdark or fantasy. Really short summary. The grimdark ones are basically have you seen Secret of Nim? It's kind of that. They're basically rats that were experimented on by humans, and then they eventually freed themselves and escaped, and now they are kind of they're basically they basically find other people and species in their own that are kind of like in their own situation. They help them. They help them escape and become free. The fantasy ones, kind of, let's say, a similar origin. They're also kind of spawned by humans accidentally, but essentially it's like it's rats that become ratmen, and then they're essentially shoved off by everyone as monsters, although they're actually really friendly. But everyone looks at them like they're kind of monsters, and so the humans shove them off from the Empire, and then everybody kind of like shoves them off, and they find a spot to settle, which is kind of in between lots of different factions. And there they build these enormous like castle cities, and essentially their lore is like that they become the shield of humanity by accident, because they're just surrounded by all these other warring factions. That's why, like, when we make the models, the vibe is imagine a noble medieval mouse guard like warrior, but that has been through countless battles and is slowly worn down. And then there is more to them, but yes, that's their thing. Will we see any vehicles for jackals? No, the jackals don't use vehicles. They use their beasts. Are we getting flame effects to go with the changed flamers? No, that's also something that we're not doing. Battle Brothers and Eternal Wardens when they're ready. That's the usual answer. Since there is some Halo inspiration in the Star Host, any chance we can get a sword option for the Saurian hero? No, we are not. We don't have any plans for that. Is the Plague Beast monopose? Yes, it's monopose. What general time frame for giant tribes and Titan Lords? Ballpark. Honestly, 2050. I don't know. Whenever it's ready. Really, when it's ready. That's all I can tell you. Any ideas for the Croc faction? Any Sharkman? Not sure what you're talking about. No ideas for a Croc faction or Sharkman. Are you considering making orcs? Same answer as before. Yes, eventually. Is a Chakram writing change demon from the original concept scrapped forever? Yes. I know what you're talking about. I can pull it up. Yeah, at the very, very beginning of Change Demons, we had this concept. Okay, here. We had this concept for having the disc writers be like this. But no, that's not happening. Maybe in the future as some sort of like special hero. Yes, but no, that's not happening for now. Whoops. Some info plans on updates for minis on my mini factory. Some sort of update notice, changelog or something. This is something that I have already. Garag, I'm pretty sure I already answered this question on Patreon or maybe on Discord. I'm going to answer it again. I am in talks with my mini factory about it. They're looking into it. But yes, it would be very great if we could get some sort of update or changelog integrated into my mini factory. In regards to Army Forge, are there any plans to add tournament management to the platform? In other words, allowing tournament organizers to create an event on Army Forge, submit their list. Plans? No, it's a cool idea. We would love to do a lot of things, but we need to go step by step. Right now, we still are in the process of coming out of the V2.50 beta. 2.50, by the way, it's not 2.5. Coming out of the V2.50 beta. That's the first priority, and getting all of that working. Any additional features would come later. Anything we can expect about arena games? Are they fully discontinued? Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I would not expect arena to come back. I don't want to say ever, but I would say no time soon. I think so for those that don't know, the arena games, we had Grimdark Future Arena and Age of Fantasy Arena, and they were basically these sort of Warhammer Underworlds like hex-based small skirmish games that we played with like just a handful of models, 3 to 5 models. And I like the idea, but anything that requires these sort of components that not everyone has around requires more thoughts, and also requires, well, from my perspective, requires us to actually be the ones providing those components in like a proper way. So, if one day we're big enough that we can do like box set games, I think Arena was definitely on the list for that. But yeah, not before that. I hate to say no, but male Sisters of Battle included. Not for now. Any news on the volunteers program? Again, not for now. There are so many things going on right now. Behind the scenes. As soon as we have something more for the volunteers program, we will let you know. Would it be fine to downscale the models that are working on a tabletop simulator that use the actual model? Yeah, no, please don't upload our models and share them online. That would be against the terms and conditions. Are you planning on doing models for Eternal Brothers? The Eternal Brothers, I suppose you mean the Eternal Wardens. same answer as always. At some point, for sure. How often do you get to play games of AOF or GDF? Not very often. Do you have any plans for weird body structure on a new army? We have some ideas, but yeah, it really depends on what the next army is that we're gonna do. There is lots of cool concepts that we have in mind. We just need to get to them. Oh my god, there are so many questions still. Let me try and speed through these. Sci-fi Ratman, cool. What about fantasy hives? Again, not in the plans for now. Whenever they will come, I will let you know. Any plans on building up on one-off game AF Arena? I just answered this. Did you say that the conversation Discord about Alien Hive Warriors models only have one weapon, but list allows for two? Not really. There is no plan. So we're going to be doing a big range update, like model update for the Alien Hives range. We have no intention of giving, for example, the Alien Hive Warriors more than the 2 arms that they have. I understand that everybody looking at Tyranids expects something like that, but think about it the same way it works with other models, right? Like, you have some models where, some units where, I don't know, a hero has, like, he can have a pistol and a gun and a rifle and an energy fist and a dual claw, and but in the model you don't see that, right? Imagine that maybe they're all tucked somewhere, something like that. But yeah, it's also that thing where, like, we want to make sure that people coming from 40k can bring their own models and proxy for our games. But are you going to go back and resculpt some of your old models? Alien Hives. Is there a dedicated 6mm scale in the works? There is a dedicated small scale in the works. All the small scale models are going to come in 6mm, 10mm, and 15mm. And they're going to come in strips. They're going to come singular. They're going to become supported, unsupported. Lots of stuff in the works there. We are going to be releasing it via some sort of crowdfunding. And we're actually almost done with the first army. Like I said, the pipe. I spoke about this before, but the pipeline for the small scale has turned out to be much slower than I expected. And we'll give you more info once we have more. When can we expect balanced Grimdark Future v 2.5 rules? We found some balance problems between Necron and Orc. Whatever feedback you have about v2.50, put it in the v2.50 chat, and I will take a look at it. I don't know exactly what you're talking about here, and I don't think this is the moment to answer this your problems with Necrons and Orcs or whatever. Have you ever thought of getting writers to make official lore books? Yes. So there is that's one of the things where, like, we have lots of work that's happening that you guys are currently not seeing. We have a writing lead. We currently have a whole lot of writers. So just to take a look at how many writers we're looking at, we have currently, including our lead, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people that are actively writing stuff. Plus, we have 2 more that are coming in. But writing is kind of slow. That's kind of like what I found out. We are very good. We are very, very good and very fast at producing miniatures. We are very good, not as fast, but very good at producing concept. We are very good at producing art. So all of these things over the last 6 months, 9 months have, like, we've built up the pipeline for that and worked very well. And we are okay at making lore. Well, we're good at making lore. We're not fast at making lore. So we have lots of writers, but we have nothing ready. I had mentioned this a couple days ago in one of the chats on Discord, but I'll go through it again now, just so more people get this info. But okay, we're basically lore is going to be distributed by the following means in the future. We're going to have the lore in the army books, which is going to be expanded. Right now, I think it's about 250 words, and it's going to go up to 750 words, something like that. So there's going to be proper, like a big lore thing at the beginning of each army. We also want to have like a 1 or 2 page lore intro about the setting in the rulebooks. And then we're going to be releasing world guides. So the world guides are these little booklets, 35, 40 page booklets that essentially give you everything you need to know about the history, and the history of the Grimdark Future and the history of Age of Fantasy, and give you lots of info about like how the world functions, so that then you have a better idea of like how to inhabit it, so to say. Then after that, we want to make faction guides. Faction guides are essentially, imagine a codex without the rules. So you have all of the lore, you have the history, you have the background. You're gonna have info about every unit. You're gonna have stuff about their daily life, their technology, paint schemes, like lots of info there. Ideally, I would love to say that once the full pipeline is running, we would release 2 to 4 of these a year. That would be great. We're going to be making short stories. The idea is to release once the pipeline is running, once everything is good. We're going to be releasing 2 short stories at least a month. So that would be 1 short story for Grimdark Future, 1 short story for Age of Fantasy every month. Each short story would be like 4 to 5 page long. So it's like a little cool story about the setting or some characters or whatever. On top of that, then we would have the narrative campaigns. So we want to release narrative campaigns for all the games. Again, ideally, I would say 2 to 4 narrative campaigns a year. So narrative campaigns are a mix of story and missions to play along. And then we have the comic as well. We have a serious business, and now we're actually currently in the process of working on a comic for Age of Fantasy as well. Have I ever thought about getting writers? Yes, and we got them, and we're doing a lot of work, but none of it is ready for you to see yet. Okay, next question. Mecha whales. There are no planes for mecha whales. In earlier news, there was volunteer program mentioned. Is it in the works? I already answered this before. It's in the works, but when it's ready. Havoc Brothers. What about Havoc Brothers? Any integration of writing jam submissions like into our official lore? No. That being said, we are going to, especially once we have more of our lore out and writers for the writing jam can actually base themselves on our lore. We are monitoring. Let me put it like this: we are monitoring the writing jams for talent. If we find you particularly talented, then you might get contacted. But there are no guarantees. Will there be any female Vinci models released, and/or are there plans for mixed gender human factions? So, I have a whole list of factions and units for which we want to make female models for. But the pipeline is too. We have too much stuff currently in the works to make the time for that. About the Vinci, so this is something that I've kind of like been debating lately in my mind, which is the Vinci, which by the way are called Vinci, but whatever. The Vinci are meant to be kind of hyper conservative, and as a hyper conservative faction, I think it makes sense that they are more they're based like Renaissance Italy. So it for me it always made sense that they wouldn't let their women fight in the front lines as militia. For sure, I would love to have female versions of the inventors and of the harlequins and of the assassins and stuff like that. But I was always feeling like Da Vinci shouldn't have female militia. That being said, lately I have been thinking about a lot of things, and one of the things I've been thinking about is that I mean, this is a fantasy world that we're creating where I guess I'm a little bit torn between like, wait, how far are you willing to go? How far away are you willing to go from more, let's say, historical things, which keep the lore and the games grounded, um, in favor for the more, let's say, non-historical view of, for example, having women fighting on the front line for Da Vinci. I'm torn. I would say for essentially all factions, I think, yeah, for all factions where it makes sense, of course. I think, yeah, we want to have like male and female models as much as possible. For example, the Ratman, we're now making female models as well. But for Da Vinci in particular, because of their lore, I'm still torn. Ask me again in 6 months. I don't know. Planned timeline to move V2.50 to main rather than beta when it's ready. When it's ready. Is there a set of rules in the works for a 2mm Tic Tac 10,000 model army? Well, yes, there is a very, very, very early draft of our small scale games. Again, I've been extremely busy, way too many things, growing the company and so on and so forth. So I haven't had a lot of time to work on that. But yes, you will eventually be able to work with the 10K reward special models. Yeah, the little cuties. Will they be making all the various Battle Brother attachments something more unique to OPR lore? We have lore for all of the detachments. It would be cool maybe in the future to add um, new detachments. I'm personally not a huge fan of the detachment thing, but who knows? In terms of models, yeah, that's something that we're gonna have to. That's a problem we're going to have to think about once we get there, because I think that from a practical standpoint, it would make sense that the Battle Brothers are designed in such a way that we can release bits packs to turn your standard Battle Brothers into Wolf Brothers or into Blood Brothers or into Night Brothers or whatever we want. So from a practical, player standpoint, that's what we would love to do. But that there's a lot of production things that we need to take into account. So I don't want to make any promises. I would love to do detachments as bits packs and detachment generator. Does the lore account for the alien races looking a lot like terrestrial creatures? I don't know. I don't know if I fully understand the question. That being said, and you will see this much more once you get a hold on the actual world guide for Grimdark Future. There are infinite species in the world of Grimdark Future and of Age of Fantasy as well. We generally focus on the Sirius sector right now, and in Age of Fantasy we're focusing on Tyria. So you get like the more, let's say, quote unquote classic factions there, but you can have anything in our lore, and you will see that. You will see that in the books. I would like to see cover arts on the army books. Unlikely that we're gonna have cover art for the army books, because the army books are 1-2 pages, and a lot of people work anyway, just play anyway, just using the army forge. So, I would love to improve the little illustration that comes with each army. That being said, once we make the faction guides, you can expect cover art for each faction guide. Okay, so the faction guides will have the flavor lore of the faction. Yes, exactly. So the faction guide has no rules. The rules are always free. We keep the rules free. The faction guide is it's truly like a deep dive into the lore. The way I try to describe this internally is each faction guide, it gives us the opportunity to fall in love with a faction and explore it. That's kind of like the goal. So yeah, it's all flavor, no crunch. How would you best describe the Jackal Force for Grimdark? Not sure in terms of lore, in terms of gameplay. They're scrappy. They're scrappy scrappers. That's kind of like their thing. Detachments for HDF, again, uh, to be seen. We don't even have concepts for HDF yet, so really to be seen how we would do that. I fear maybe is the wrong word. I feel like looking back, of course, at Imperial Guard and how Games Workshop did things early on. I feel like their method of like you have Cadia. By the way, I'm not good at this. You have Cadians or Cadia, whatever, and then you had like Talarn, and then you had Valhallans, whatever. And the models were completely different models. It was not just bits strapped on. I think makes a lot of sense for a human army. With Battle Brothers or with Space Marines, you have the heavy armor, and you can just strap things to it and make it look different. But with humans, you actually want their clothes to be different. So would be cool to make them. Might be a lot of work. What is your 10-second elevator pitch for Cell Swords? Okay, skirmish adventure game that serves to bridge the gap between an RPG and a war game. Yeah, I think just the title kind of like, for me at least, the title sells it. It's a skirmish adventure game. Oh, and it's co-op. Solo co-op, I suppose. Do you feel like there are any armies that aren't in a good place rules-wise in V2.50 currently? I don't know. I think there are some armies that are a little bit boring. That's the truth. Like, there are some armies that I look at them and I'm like, ugh, I don't want to play them. A lot of armies I love. Even armies, there are lots of armies where even if I don't like the models, I like the game. But there are some armies like halflings, for example. I always feel like halflings are kind of meh. I feel like the Shadow Stalkers are a little bit meh. I feel definitely that the Human Inquisition is meh. But in a way, I think that once we get to making models for these factions, that's actually going to give us the opportunity to start innovating rules-wise as well. But I don't think that there are any army that is not that is in a bad place in V2.50. Any updates on the epic scale wargame? I already answered. With heresies. Okay, any updates on the epic scale wargame rule set? Already answered, in the works, but very slow. With heresy 6mm rumors going around, any plans on tiny battle brothers? We're only going to be making small scale minis of armies that we already have regular scale of. So until we don't have 32 mil battle brothers, you don't expect 6 mil battle brothers. Since you won't update AOF Arena in the future, is there any chance we can get a point calculator? Not really. I don't. No, I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I would love to give you more content, but I don't have the time. It would take a lot of time to make that, and I don't have the time to invest into a discontinued game that is played by a handful of players. I just don't have the time for it. Yeah, and also like the way that it worked, there was some sort of like rule of thumb approximate points calculation there, but it wasn't something as rigid as it is with the other games where it's like, oh yeah, here, just take my calculator. Yeah. Did you consider Jackals and Eternal Dynasty in fantasy settings? No, they are sci-fi factions, so they're not coming into the fantasy settings. Is there any effort going towards integrating an online Paul calculator in the list builder? Yes. So all of the armies all of the army lists that you see on the web app and on the Army Forge are all made within the web app. So I create the armies in the web app. They're all automatic, like calculated automatically, and then the PDFs and the Army Forge things are generated automatically. Once this system is ready for the patron consumption, for usage by patrons, we will make it available. And so in the future, you'll be able to make an army, a full army, not just like right now in the online calculator, you make one unit at a time and you have all of these things. You're going to be able to create a full army with a great interface. I have to say, shout out to Schnickers and Adam. you're going to be able to make a full army, and then it will automatically calculate all the costs, and it will automatically generate a PDF that anyone can access, and it will automatically generate an army forge entry that anyone can access. It's going to be great. Will we see rules for emplacements and bunkers for Grim Future? No, not likely. Not likely. I don't really have any plans for something like that. Will there be a planned cadence to sellswords releases, or just an initial one-time dump of service? So this kind of goes back into the pipeline of the writing, and actually also of the rules design. Right now, I am still pretty much the only person that works on rules for the majority of things. We have Ryan, who's been working on the Grimdark Future FTL conversion. And we have Austin, and Ryan also made a part of the mission packs, and we have Austin also working on the mission packs. I mean, ideally, what I would want is that once Sellswords comes out, and I want it to come out with at least like some sort of mini campaign, and maybe also like some sort of like horde mode, where you can just play it. But ideally, I would want to have a constant flow of campaigns, because it is a campaign-based game. But also we want to make a campaign generator. A lot of things. The whole Sellsword project is quite big. So I guess the answer is the planned cadence is. Were you going to go back and do terrain for Duchies of Inches? Yes, all of the existing factions will get terrain made. Like I said, we are currently facing a production issues with terrain, so it's slow. The army interrogation is when it's ready. Yes, and everything we do pretty much is when it's ready. If there is lore plan, does it mean that unit compatibility with 40k models will be broken? No, I don't. I mean, if you pay attention to the army books, our lore is already there. So the lore and the playability are. That's part of the big thing with OPR and minis agnostic gaming, right? Is, by the way, I should turn on the light. 1 second. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, the power of like minis agnostic gaming is exactly that. It's like we make the rules, and then you play with your models, your lore, whatever you want, and then here on the side, we're going to have all of our lore, our art, our stuff. That's why the faction guides don't contain any rules. They're just for the lore. So no, compatibility will not be broken. Idea for Vinci females, even in modern conservative armies. They allow women in vehicle or specialist units, so could keep. Yes, so that's kind of like the thing I was talking about, where definitely I want to have Vinci female inventors, harlequins, female assassins, and stuff like that. I had an idea actually for a sort of like concubine unit, but I'm not sure if it would fully fit Vinci. Whatever. The thing about Vinci that I'm not sure about is, should they have female militia? That's the thing. Is there any way or plan to bring back any of the flying prime brothers into Grimdark Future 5? Okay, so the skirmish lists are auto generated. So and that's actually part of the beauty of the system, and how it's going to be beautiful for you as well, is that you create an army, and then you basically select which games the army should be compatible with, should be available for. And if you select the skirmish games, you don't need to do anything. It skirmifies it. So skirmifying basically means it removes all units that have that basically break the skirmish rules. Any upgrades that are too expensive, any units that have a tough value that's too high, and stuff like that. So it's not that we removed flying prime brother units from Grimdark Future Firefight. It's that they don't fit within the balance of Firefight. They're probably too expensive. That's the thing. So whenever you see a unit in firefight that is in the main game and not in firefight, that is why it's automatically being removed. We might, with time, revise the skirmify rules, because, for example, I actually added a bunch of vehicles, a bunch of the new vehicle stuff from Ash Wastes, whatever. But they just got skirmified away. The vehicles are too powerful for skirmish. So yeah, not sure there. Okay, I see that we are out of questions for now, but also we are out of time. So, okay, the stream was supposed to go for 2 hours. It was supposed to start at my 6 and end at my 8. It's 8:30. 2.5 hours, not bad. Much better than the last time when we did it, which ended up being 5 hours. Cool learning experience. I think. 2.5 hours is also not bad. I think. Better than 5. Yeah, I feel like. So for the next times, okay, as the project keeps growing and we release more stuff, I would actually like to start including more content into the stream, or potentially make additional streams. I'm not sure. If we do that, though, I would like to reduce the time, because we spent almost an hour talking just about like the September stuff, and the original plan was for that to be like 30 minutes. Also, once we switch from 3 armies back to 2 armies, it's going to be faster because we're going to have less stuff to show off. But then we're going to have other stuff to show off. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Yeah, feel free to leave your comments in the description. How do we always say? Like, subscribe, and follow, or something. Share. Put the notification bell. Whatever. All the cool YouTube stuff. I will be back. I will be back with another stream in a month. Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Bye. Now to shut